Pregame.com.
Wednesday night baseball interleague action on the West Coast. We've got the LA Dodgers at the Oakland A's. Brian, this is going to be your free pick, and I'll let you take the stage. You got two young pitchers here going at it. Both show some promising stuff.
I've never seen somebody so excited to talk about an Oakland A's game. Is Reggie Jackson coming out of retirement here?
Well, it's funny you say that. Oakland is kind of like my adopted team because I do a radio show 3 days a week, and it's with Chris Townsend, and he's the Oakland A's pre- and post-game announcer. So we do a lot of talk on the show about the A's. So
why aren't you doing it with him instead of me? He's got more contacts than I do.
Well, I couldn't get him to fly.
He probably is not allowed to get on a gambling podcast. But either way, it should be a great pitching matchup. I'm projecting, we're looking at this line, probably LA a slight favorite, probably anywhere 6.5 to 7 on the total. And the reason being is you've got two pitchers that have a tremendous amount of success. Eovaldi so far, it's funny because in 4 games, he and his teammates for the entire game have given up 8 runs. Problem is, they've only scored 4 runs in that time frame.
No support.
He's doing a great job. Unfortunately, he's not getting any support. And I talk about my true runs record. And for those who hadn't seen it in the past, basically what I do is there's so much variance in baseball. A team will out-hit the opposition 10-2. Sometimes you lose because the 2 they get are home runs and there was a walk or something in between, and the team with 10 spreads them around. So basically what I look at when I do a true run or a true win is a team obviously has to win the game on the run line, or excuse me, not the run line, has to win the game with runs, but they also have to out-hit the opposition. If a team doesn't do that, it's a pass for me and I don't include it in the record. This has worked out well for me because you have certain teams like the Angels. I knew the Angels were going to start playing better before they actually did. So I was able to make some money on the Angels and certain teams like that. And what you have for the Dodgers, they're 35-17, their true runs record on the season. So they're not winning the half-and-half games. They're winning every game that they're supposed to be winning. And they've been very impressive. But Eovaldi, out of those, he's had 4 starts. 3 of them are qualifying starts, meaning qualifying the runs and the hits were on the same team. He's 0-3 in those games. So it's a situation with he's also 0-3 over-under in those 3 games. Obviously, when you're only scoring 8 runs in 4 games, or scoring 4 runs in 4 games, giving up 8 in 4 games. This is a pitcher right now that's staying under the radar a little bit.
Definitely undervalued. And for Oakland, you've got Malone on the mound. And this is a guy that you want to talk about Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. The only thing I never could figure out, which was the good guy, Jekyll or Hyde?
I don't watch horror movies.
Okay. Well, anyways,
I've seen enough of my basketball picks this season.
The bad Malone is the guy on the road. His ERA on the road is 7.42. You bring him home, and his ERA is 0.98 at home. So, I mean, this guy loves pitching in the ballpark in Oakland. You've got 2 young pitchers. I don't have anything on the total because the only thing, I'll be honest, that scares me with the total is all of a sudden the Oakland A's are smacking the ball around the ballpark. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. The 5 wins, they've scored 42 runs, averaging 8.4 runs a game during that recent stretch. So that scares me a little bit. But even with that said, I do favor the Dodgers in this game with Eovaldi. This guy, he's got to catch a break sooner or later. I mean, he's pitching well. It'll be the first time Oakland's seen him. Also, the Dodgers are playing well right now. I really thought they'd drop off with the injury to Kemp, but they're 9-4 in their last 13 games, and the 4 losses were all 1-run losses. So they've been in every game in the last 13 games. Kind of hard to fault a team like that. So I've got a small lean to the Dodgers in here, but I do expect a good pitching matchup.
I haven't heard a word you said. I keep going over this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I think Mr. Hyde was the bad guy. Go ahead. What did you say? No, okay. You mentioned Tommy Malone. At home this year, he's given up 2. This is he and the bullpen, giving up 2, 1, 4, 0, and 0. So not only is he pitching well in these games, the bullpen is pitching well, and 4 of those 5 went under the posted total. I like the under here, and it makes a lot of sense with Malone because he's a guy that came out of spring training. He's one of these junk ball pitchers. He's not going to strike a lot of people out, and he's a pitcher who gives up a lot of fly balls. Oakland's a place where you got to hit the hell out of that ball to get a home run. And a lot of his division, in which he plays in, is that way. So when he goes out of the division, goes to Yankee Stadium, he goes to Boston, some of these other places, he's going to struggle because he gives up a lot of fly balls in places, Texas, where the ball's going to travel a lot better. And face it, we're taping this in Vegas. I think it's 108 degrees today. We know how the ball travels in the middle of the summer. So getting him at home, I think, is a big plus here. And I like the under here. I expect it to be anywhere from 6.5 to 7. I'll lay the 6.5 minus 110 on the under, hoping to get 7. If I get a 7.5, as soon as that line comes out, you better grab it because it's not going to stick around very much longer.
You're going to hit it that hard.
I'm going to hit it then.
I've heard you could hit stuff pretty hard. Just one closing thought that you made a point on.
I was going to make a rude remark, but I better not.
With Malone, you say a junk ball pitcher like that, do you think that a guy like that, when he comes the second time around the league, he's a young pitcher, when people start to see him and more familiar with him, that's also going to make him struggle a little more in the second half of the season? Yeah,
not only he, but most of the time when you get a young pitcher coming through the league, first time through, he has the advantage. Second time through, you see him starting, the other team's making some corrections, so it makes a lot of sense.
That's old school handicapping. It still works, guys. All right, he's Bryan Leonard. I'm Marco D'Angelo. Bryan says take the under. He'll take it down as low as 6.5 under. We're looking for it to be 6.5 or 7. That's it for the early edition this week. We'll be back here taping again Wednesday. We'll look at some action for you Thursday and Friday here on pregame.tv. And then, of course, later in the week, Scott Spreitzer and Vegas Runner will be in the studios covering your weekend action. So keep it tuned to pregame.tv.